Welcome to Therapy with T. I accidentally deleted the video that showed me shuffling and picking these 3 topics for the reading. So this is just pretend that you saw me shuffle, but you're going to go ahead and whichever one of these feels like you would like information on what's holding you back from fulfillment in one of these areas, that'll be your reading. You can find the timestamps for each of the pile readings in the descriptions. And I always just suggest you go with whichever one either you just want information on or is just really calling you. And then go ahead and skip to your reading. And if you like my video and you want to give me a like or subscribe to see more, I always appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to give you a second to look at these. You can pause the video if you need more time. Okay, pile 1, if you chose wealth and you wanted to have information or clear messages about what's holding you back from fulfillment with wealth or from success in wealth, then this is your pile. Obviously, it's a wealth card, so I'm going to assume that this will be about financial issues, but we'll just see what the cards say and we'll let them take us where they take us. So I do think I'm going to do a Celtic cross for this pile. So while I kind of shuffle and get my intentions in the right place, if you want to give permission to your team to speak to my team and get clear messages across for you, that's always wonderful. Okay, so again, we're going to use this wealth card as the significator. And then this will be the situation in question. And I'm not going to read reverse today, but I do take the meanings into account. All right. So this is the situation or the question. This is going to be what crosses or complements you. Okay. So I always see, oh, I should move these out. Okay. And sometimes I'm going to be doing this in silence so I can focus. So for pile 1, please help me give them clear messages. I'll show you the cards up close in a second. I'm just going to get everything settled first. Interesting. Interesting. How provocative. Huh. Choices. Hopefully you'll be able to see all these. If not, I'll find out in a second. Okay, let me check to see that. Oh, that's definitely... Okay, sorry about that. I needed to fix everything because you couldn't see your cards. So I'll hold them up as I talk about them. But give me a moment to just sit with the energy of this. So there's a mindset of a lack mentality here with wealth for you, pile 1. So since we're talking about wealth, there's 1, 2 pentacles, 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana. So it is kind of a big shift. So there might be some past training that you are having to kind of reteach yourself how to think about money and finances. There could be some just like blockages and trauma around that, but let's talk about this. So this is kind of what, like, so the situation is how, like, what's holding me back from having fulfillment or having success with wealth. And with the 4 of Pentacles, what I'm getting is that there's this energetic energy you're putting out that's more of a I don't have enough, and so I have to Like the Four of Pentacles can be like the miserly card. Like I have to hold on to what I have very tightly, which energetically can keep us from being able to receive wealth coming in because we're so concerned that we don't have enough. So we're just putting out there all the time, I don't have enough, I'm broke, I don't have enough money, this is really stressful. What you don't see about the situation, like what you're not aware of, is that not only just that you can have this mentality of having abundance, but the Page of Pentacles is like someone coming in and learning, or like sorry, my words are fumbling today, but it's like the page is like the novice. It's like the student of something. So this is a student trying to figure out finances, let's say, and they're coming forward and they're like, I'm holding this pentacle in my hand and I want wealth and I can touch wealth and I can see it, but I'm not quite sure how to hang on to it. But the message coming from your spirit team is that you are capable of holding a vast amount of abundance, but you don't see that. So again, I'm getting this idea of this blockage around money. What you are aware of is that you need to shift your perspective about money. So if you saw this and you picked this, you might really be very clear that you have issues around money that come from wherever. Could come from childhood, could be learned from poverty, whatever it is, but there's some like negative blockages around the idea of money. And so if we have a really negative feeling about money in general, and it's like, oh, money is the root of all evils, and it always just causes anxiety, then we can often be blocking ourselves from receiving abundance in that form because we're seeing it as such a negative thing. So the Hangman message here is saying, like, you know that you need to shift your perspective about money, and the way that you think about it is very negative. And again, this is a wealth reading, so I'm going to just be very focused on those specific examples about how you feel about money. If this doesn't resonate for you, if you feel like you have a very good relationship with money, then this is not your reading for today. Maybe check out a different pile, check out another one of my videos. There's also amazing readers on YouTube. You can find someone who really resonates with you. But don't try to force this to make sense. But if it is making sense, then you're kind of going to understand what I'm talking about. So it sounds like you're already aware that you have a negative relationship with money and the idea of finances. Examples of this could be like let's say you pay for dinner for people, but everyone was going to pay you back, but then they forget to send you money, and then you have to ask them for it, and it makes you super uncomfortable and you hate it, to the point where you might not even ask for the money back, which again is like this blockage of receiving financial gain. All right, so what you're walking away from right now, like what you're just coming out of in your past, is Queen of Wands, which is an interesting card to have in this position. So what I'm seeing here, so some of you maybe came from money, and that alone can cause a lot of like complicated issues. If you came from a place of money, but the people that were raising you or your family acted like they didn't have money, but they did, and so there was always like a lack mindset there, that could be an issue. It could also just be if you came from a very affluent place and money wasn't an issue and you had whatever you wanted, and now you're on your own trying to do it, that can also be an issue. There's something about affluence though, and this idea that being rich is very attractive, and that and maybe it was super important to you. So some of you might be coming into this new perspective shift where you realize like you judge people about their money, about how much money they have. When you're dating, you judge people on if they're making money. You're always concerned about that. Money is always like an obstacle in your relationships. And you maybe don't want to feel like that anymore, and you're trying to shift your perspective on how you think about it and how attractive you think it is, and recognizing that, one, many of us are privileged generationally with wealth. If we didn't grow up in poverty, we were already privileged. But also, it's a superficial like, it's not a personality trait. It's not a characteristic or character flaw. It is, you either have money, you don't have money, you're working towards money. So maybe you're trying to see the world from a different perspective without thinking about money being the most important. Because then what you're coming into, so what's coming into your near future, like where you're walking into, is this kind of like light switch of truth and recognition of reality, and saying, okay, I definitely have a negative relationship with how I perceive money, whether it's because I have lack of abundance or I have too much abundance or whatever it is. You're coming to a truth and it's hitting you quickly. So some of you could be, you know, worst case scenario, some people are going through bankruptcy, some people are having serious financial issues. You never learned how to deal with like credit card debt, and so you've racked up a ton of credit card debt on things like clothes or paying for school, and now you're trying to figure everything out. But whatever it is, what has been keeping you from being successful has been this perspective of money as either the most important thing or the thing that you think is the root of all evil, or somewhere in between. And you're realizing that that's needs to shift, and this truth is kind of, it's like a truth bomb is going to go off, or it has gone off, which is why you picked this pile. Because your perception, or like how you're seeing the attitude of this, is the Hierophant, which can be a lot of different things in this reading. What I'm picking up with this is that it's old structures that no longer suit you. So it's conventions that maybe you followed before that you're realizing are outdated and do not serve you as you are now. They do not work for you. So it's like you're being constricted by these ideas that you, either society or you were learning from an early age, but you don't want to. It's not even that you don't want to, it's just that you're kind of ready to make a different choice, which the Lovers can often mean a choice. A lot of people just think this is like the romance card, and this can be like external influences. It does feel like a choice. It's almost like some of you want to like put all your stuff in storage and go like travel, and you know that that would be like leaving a job or leaving consistent income, and that's terrifying. So these are the types of things. It's like you've recognized that there's some kind of obstacle blocking you from feeling fulfilled around wealth, and because wealth often, you know, dictates how we can show up in the world, where we can go, and what clothes and what car, and how we can afford things. You could be wanting to like make this break from this old antiquated idea that like to be successful and fulfilled, you have to have a six-figure salary and make a lot of money. And you're like, that doesn't work for me anymore. I choose a different pathway. I choose to maybe do my art. I choose to not have this six-figure job anymore, and maybe just get a side hustle that pays the bills, but then I'm less miserable. So there's definitely some type of choice that's coming, and it's you against you. You're gonna have to decide if that's the path you want to go. With the Hermit being in the position of hopes and fears, I could see that, like, if this is as the clear choice of like, okay, money has kept me in the position I'm in where I'm very unhappy, but I'm stable and I have money coming in, and I have this fear of lack of money or lack of abundance. The Hermit would guide you to turn into what's truly making you happy. And if it has lots to do with money, then you can kind of unpack that, right? So if you're like, well, what makes me happy is buying clothes and buying dinner and traveling to places, and that's like what brings you joy, obviously you need money to do that. But the Hermit is also kind of a card of like, don't worry, because the way's gonna be lit for you. Your spirit team is gonna guide the way. You will not be in the dark if you make these choices, whatever these choices are. It could just be like you want to go into a different career, and it's going to be like maybe you were offered an amazing job, but it's a step down, so you would have to decrease your salary, and that feels crazy to you. But it's so it's also hitting you that you have this obstacle with abundance. And so it's almost like if you give yourself the permission and you make the choice to go ahead down this path where you're really excited about the work you're going to do, but it'll be less money, that you'll actually feel more fulfilled, and that will open you up to more abundance. So the outcome, or like what the solution might be, or the outcome of this concern or this worry, is the Seven of Wands. So the Seven of Wands, typically the way that I read this card, would be like feeling like you need to defend your position, that you feel very true about it, like it's a very honest position, it's the right choice, like you know it's the right thing and you feel like you need to defend against it. So this could be, you know, again with the fears, it could be that you feel like people will be like, you're crazy, you walked away from such a great job for money to be, or for a decrease in salary. It could be that you have a lot of options of side hustles that you could bring in multiple revenues, and that's a scary thought for you because it's not stable. Some of you might be wanting to start a business, and that's scary because you're walking away from like an hourly or salaried job with benefits, and you know exactly what you're going to get every 2 weeks to every month. But this is definitely saying like there's a defensiveness here, or a feeling like you have to defend your position. So let's get some clarification. I'm going to use this cute little deck. So for pile 2, can we get some clarification about what is the Seven of Wands in response to? This is the outcome. What do they feel like they have to defend? Okay, so you've got Justice, Seven of Cups, and my cards are falling everywhere. Eight of Swords, which is like the biggest stuckness card. So first hit I'm getting is that there's some kind of karmic blockage where you're afraid to go after your dreams, that it makes you feel stuck, like you don't think you can survive or take care of yourself if you're doing what you love and want and what you dream of. Wealth can also be like abundance in family and like community. There's a balance that can be struck here. So with this outcome, it's like so make your choice. And while you might need to defend your position to some people, it's none of their business. You don't have to defend yourself, but if you feel the need to, it's because you feel like you're making a choice that might end up putting you in a more stuck place, a place where you can't travel as much, a place where you can't buy the things you want as much. There's something about it where it's like, I know that I see this dream, I have this in front of me, I want this thing, but I'm going to have to sacrifice. And Justice coming in this area is confirming to me this idea of a karmic blockage around wealth and abundance, and maybe feeling like you don't actually deserve to be happy, like you deserve either to have money or to be happy, but not both. So that's what I'm getting. So let's get some guidance on how you can kind of work through this. So what can pile 1? If I called you pile 2, I apologize. What can pile 1 do to help themselves with this blockage? So you have the Page of Swords, okay, and you have the Four of Wands, which is celebration often. I'm definitely getting something about, like, I'm seeing like a little kid, like this is showing this little kid who's like, I don't know if they're coloring or drawing or writing or what they're doing, but what I got was like seeing this like pile 1, you as a little kid, having all these dreams about like being a journalist or being a children's book author or a writer or an artist, something that doesn't technically like scream wealthy. like, yeah, sure, like some people really make it big. Danielle Steele, you know, they make lots of money on their writing, but a lot of people, that doesn't happen for them. So it would be one of those things that maybe a parent would say, that's unrealistic expectation for yourself, or that's an unrealistic career. You need to be more realistic about it and pick something like engineering or teaching or something that will, you know, you're going to have your money come in and you can take care of yourself. But there's this longing to kind of reconnect with this idea that you had. So there might be something that you have dreamt about for a long time that you have been stuck being unable to either work on it. So if it's a project like writing or art that you felt like you couldn't do it because you were focused on this career and making the 6 figures. And if you do choose to follow this dream, this idea, and kind of recognize that this perspective on money has kind of been keeping you stuck, it's going to be a celebration. So it's a positive outcome if you choose to do that. Let's pick some tea leaves. I took all the astral houses out, so I need to put them back in. So I know you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just shuffling. I'll put them to the side so you can see. Sorry if I keep forgetting that when I do this, it shakes my phone and then you get a wiggly view. So I apologize for that. All right, so for pile 1, it feels like it would be successful for them to make this choice. Which obviously, like if you're going with your heart, it's gonna feel better a lot of the time. All right, so I'm seeing this purple one, and it came out with this one. So we have pin, new job or career. Interesting. Okay, that's just confirming to me that this wealth situation, it's like, what is this, May? Okay, so there's something, it's possible that in May, which is, if you're watching this right now, it's April, so this would be next month. But this can be a timeless reading, so whenever you do watch it, it would be next month from when you watch it. So if you're watching it in September, it will be October. If you're watching it in, I don't know, I just blanked on every March, then it would be April, if that makes sense. So whatever time you watch it, it'll be the next month from what month you're in. But this confirms to me, again, that if you choose to do the thing that your heart wants to do, the thing that brings you the joy, that sings to you, there will be way more success and abundance that way. That it's actually more in line with bringing in wealth because you're happy and open than it is to stay in something that's bringing in consistent money, but you're miserable. So what's holding you back from fulfillment and wealth? You're not happy with the way that you're bringing that abundance in. So it's blocked all the time. It's not flowing because it feels resistant to you. You feel resistant. That's like a bird being out of the cage. So you have this bird that's out of this cage. It's not stuck anymore. And now it's sitting there like telling you, like an inner child guide, like, hey, remember when we wanted to be an artist? Or hey, remember when we wanted to do A, B, and C? Like, let's do that because that will bring us abundance because we'll be so happy. Okay, that's what I'm getting from this pile. I hope it resonates. If it doesn't, again, it's not for you and that's okay. If it does resonate and it was helpful at all, then please drop me a comment or like my video so I know that it was helpful. But that's what I'm getting, and I hope that whatever this is, please go for it. Obviously, don't do anything that will put you in a really dangerous spot where you can't take care of yourself or responsibilities that you have or children. But if it's possible for you to kind of go towards your heart, I promise, I mean, I can't promise, but I truly believe that the more you open up to things that bring you joy, the more abundance you get in every area of your life. All right, pile 1, thanks for staying here for this reading. I hope it made sense. Bye. All right, welcome pile 2 to your reading. If you chose the career card, then you want some messages about what's holding you back from fulfillment in your career. So let's get started. I'm gonna do the Celtic cross spread for this. And I'm gonna use my Rider-Waite deck, and then we'll use some other decks for clarification, and then we'll get some tea leaves for confirmation, because I love to pick some cards at the end that always make me excited that the tarot and the oracle cards are all aligned. Okay, so for pile 2, please give your spirit team permission to speak with mine, and please help me, team, to bring forth clear messages for the highest of all involved. Thank you so much. Okay, so career is going to be the significator card. We're going to just put that up there. Okay, this will be what crosses you. So I'm going to lay them all out and then we'll talk. Oh. Interesting, interesting. Okay, so we're going to do King of Wands came first. Queen of Swords. Oh, Two of Cups. Nine of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles, which came up in pile 1. Three of Wands. Knight of Wands. Four of Pentacles. Okay, so let's talk about this. So it's interesting because there's some cards in this reading that were in pile 1 in different places. But pile 1 was wealth and this is career, and oftentimes they do go together. So if you were drawn to pile 1, I would suggest you look at that as well, because I think that there's some messaging in there for you. All right. So my first hit off this is that a lot of you, or some of you, don't know what you should do with your career. So you don't know what your purpose is. You don't know if you're in the right career. You might be just starting out into something. Maybe you got a major, a degree, and now you're trying to figure out, do I actually want to do this as my day-to-day work? But there's some kind of mystery, not even mystery, but some kind of shield or blockage or veil about like, well, what should my career be? So that seems like the issue. So some of you are trying to be like, well, what should I even do? What you aren't really aware of is the King of Wands. So what's interesting to me there is that it feels like your spirit team is saying that they're like trying to guide you and send a lot of inspiration your way, and it's not getting through, or you might feel it. You might feel like there's some kind of guidance, but it's not coming through clear enough for you to like grasp it. And that's where this kind of mystery is lying. It could also be that in your career, you're feeling really confused about the actual job. There could be some real confusion and not really feeling like it's going the way that you had hoped, or things are not flowing like you thought they were going to. What you are aware of is the Two of Cups. So Two of Cups is more of my like romance and partnership card. So some of you might have wanted to do something where you're in team and collaboration with someone, and that was really important for you, that it wasn't just you on your own, that you got to work with people. Some of you could be frustrated and not feeling good in your career because you're required to work with someone else. There's some type of partnership here that you know it. This is kind of like the root of this question that you're asking about career. Like, what's holding me back from being fulfilled in my career? So I'm feeling like either there's a partnership, so you are either working with someone that it's just not flowing, or you aren't getting to work with someone and that makes you feel stifled, like you want to be in collaboration with someone. You're coming from the Queen of Swords and you're going to the Nine of Pentacles, which is very positive. I wonder if it's possible some of you are also maybe getting a raise, or you want to get a raise, or you're putting your name in the hat to get a raise. Someone might be leaving a position so you can get that position, and that could be this collaboration that's ending. For some of you, that feels right. Like your supervisor is leaving and they might be recommending you to take over their spot, or you think I could do that, and you're kind of wanting to come in that way, and in an honest and very direct way. Sometimes the Queen of Swords can be someone who's very direct to the point of being cutting with their words, can be almost cruel with how like honest they are. This could be like, it's possible like a supervisor in this position was like, I don't think that you can handle this job. You should not put your name in this is not your next move. You're not ready. So it could be someone who thinks that they're being honest and direct with you, but it's very cutting. What you're moving into, though, is this great abundance card of the Nine of Pentacles, which is just someone who has literally just worked really hard and tended their fields and is just enjoying the fruits of their labor, basically. All of their things have like come in and they're stable and they have abundance and they're just like enjoying it and living in the moment. And that's what you're like walking into in the near future. So whether it's moving away from a position or getting a new position, it feels like it's going to be very successful. So let's keep going and then we'll get some more clarification. Yeah, so your attitude towards this is like, it's in your grasp, like it's right in your reach. It does feel like a position being offered, like someone's stepping out of a position so you could take that position that will enhance your career, will move your career forward. But it's possible that you're new at it. It would be like, maybe you've only had your job for 5 months. And so thinking about taking the supervisory role might seem crazy or like you're not ready for it, but you can learn as you go. You can learn as you go. Because the Three of Wands and the external factors is like your ships are coming in. So like you've done the work, you've put the effort in, so you can have this happen. It's not necessarily going to be an easy thing, okay? But if you want this position or you want this move forward, because it seems like it'd be super abundant, you just have to be graceful with yourself and realistic that you have put the work in and you have the ability. You're just going to still be learning, and that's okay to still be learning as you go. Your hopes and fears, though, is like maybe it's too quickly, like maybe it's moving too fast. So like, again, like if you started a job 5 months ago or a year and you had a great supervisor or a horrible supervisor, but whatever it is, like there's a new opening or a new possibility for you in your career and you're not necessarily as qualified as some other people might seem on paper. And so it's almost like this opportunity is coming too soon. Like you wish it would take a little bit longer to have this opportunity because that's scary. But again, like I'm seeing, it's just, it's successful, but you'll have to learn as you go. You're not going to be perfect right away. The outcome with being the Four of Pentacles is interesting to me, which also, again, Pal 1 had this as their in this position, I believe. So sometimes this can mean like lack mentality, but it can also mean that you've worked really hard for what you have. And now you're just like, hey, look at the things that I've worked hard for. These are the things that I have put my blood, sweat, and tears and energy in. And I'm proud of that. So it does seem like if you chose to do whatever this is, again, that you'd feel very proud. So the question being, what is holding you back from fulfillment in career? It feels like a partnership or a position that you want to go for. But again, what we were talking about with being scared, it's too soon. Let's do some tea leaves. And then, or no, I'll get some more confirmation and we'll do tea leaves. I just want to shuffle these before I spread them back out. Okay, let's do these. Yeah, okay. All right, so we're going to use this other little deck for some confirmation. So for pile 2, what guidance do you have? How can they work through this? I mean, it does just feel like, okay, I'm not ready, but I think I could do it, or people are telling me I can't, but it's almost like you're warring with yourself. Is this the moon? Sorry, I have to cheat and get my little booklet. I swear, Roman numerals are rough for me. Excuse me for reaching. Okay, we have 18. Yes, that's the moon. Okay. So again, there's some shadow work that you have to do here. There's some feeling that you are not good enough to do whatever this is. So that could be really holding you back and feeling fulfilled, is if you don't think that you're good enough for the job, or you don't feel like you're capable, or you feel like you make a lot of mistakes because you're learning along the way, and that's really uncomfortable. Okay, this would be the high priestess. Oh no, the empress, sorry. Okay, yeah, so the empress. And then we have the 6 of Pentacles, which is an awesome card of generosity. Okay, so the guidance here is that what's blocking you is thinking that you're not enough for this, that you are too, like, your ego is getting in the way and you don't want to have to make mistakes. You want to just be like, so you might be in a position where you're really good at what you're doing and it's maybe even sometimes a little boring. And if you took this other role, it would require more from you, and that makes you feel unsteady because you like to be good at what you're doing, and you know you're going to make mistakes along the way, and you'll have to be like humbled by it and say, oh yeah, I'm learning, I made a mistake, thanks for helping me or pointing it out. But you'll feel proud of yourself. With the Empress being here too, it's like just is not a good word. It's like, how can I say this? What I'm getting is like, the Empress is oftentimes about like abundant fertility, creativity, creation, right? It's like you feel like you'll be under a microscope. Like you feel like everyone will watch and judge your mistakes if you do this. And that feels really daunting to you. And it's bringing up triggers from wherever, but there's some shadow work you need to do to kind of release that. Which maybe it's around like, I'm allowed to make mistakes and I'm allowed to learn. It's like being generous with yourself and recognizing that like you don't expect other people to be perfect right away. And if you do, that is another thing that you can kind of look at working on, is that no one's perfect right away. And so if you take on this new thing, whatever this is that I'm picking up on, you're not going to look perfect. And you have to be okay with that. But that's what's holding you back from feeling fulfilled in your career. 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, which is like the victim card, or the like coming out of the cold card. It's like you feel really proud of yourself for getting to where you've gotten, and you maybe feel like you did it on your own and it was like you had to do it by yourself. And so it's hard for you to take a spot or a position where someone would require you to ask for help, because you're not going to always know what you're doing. So let's get some tea leaves just to see what else we have. We have V for victory. Again, I feel like if you do this work, it's going to be very victorious for you. You have pale time to get out of a situation. So again, if there's a negative, like you're in a position with someone, then you're collaborating and it's really a struggle, and there's a new position you can move into and get away from that situation, your team is saying, yes, do that. You have box, you will receive a gift. And you have mice, discord among friends or family, which is interesting because there's all these mice in this card. And so I'm feeling like it's possible there's some people at your job that are getting in your head about you not being capable of doing this, or saying passive aggressive things behind your back, but not behind your back. Like you can hear it like, oh, wow, you're going to apply for that job? Didn't you just start working here 5 months ago? Like that kind of thing. There's some kind of like, and then you might actually have to then supervise those people. So that could be really hard. But what I'm getting is that your team is saying, like, if you do this work, one, even if you don't try to change positions, but you do the work to remind yourself that you are worthy of this, and that you can make mistakes and learn as you go. And that like that the gift here is getting yourself out of this box of thinking like, okay, well, I'm safe here and I'm comfortable here and I know what I'm doing and I know what's expected. And sure, I'm miserable with some of my colleagues, but at least I know what to expect. Whereas if I take this new role or I push forward for something new, I might have to supervise these same people that I'm struggling with. But it's victorious. It's like, it's a gift for you. They want you out of the situation. They want you to see it as a gift. It will be victorious. You'll be proud of yourself. So that's what I'm seeing here. I hope that makes sense to you all. If it does and you want to drop a comment about how it resonated, wonderful. Or if you want to like this video, I'd love that. Or subscribe if you want to see my videos more. Thank you so much. But either way, thanks for being here with me. And the cards are saying like it could be a really positive, beneficial, victorious thing for you to do. And not only just on like a career level, but on like a personal level as well. So I hope you do whatever this is and move forward with whatever this is. So good luck with that. Very exciting. Thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye. Welcome, pile 3. If you chose pile 3, you chose the marriage card. So you want to hear messages about what's holding you back from fulfillment in marriage. So marriage obviously can mean a partnership between two people, right? A legal contract, but it can also be a partnership in business. But based on the fact that I had wealth in pile 1 and career in pile 2 and marriage here, there could be some messages in all of it for you, but we're going to go with this idea of like a romantic partnership with someone in that sense of marriage. So if you could give your team permission to speak with mine so we can get clear messages for you for the highest good of all involved. And my intention is to let you know what I see when I'm seeing the cards, and to be as clear as I can, and hope that it gives you the clarity you need to move forward, be happier, feel fulfilled, and at least figure out what's holding you back so you can decide how to move forward from there. So I'm doing a Celtic cross. We're going to use marriage as your significator card. So that's the situation we're wanting to learn about. All right, so across this pile. Oh, that is so funny. This card has showed up in every single reading. How interesting. Huh. Okay. The collective is struggling with, and I mean, this card doesn't always, this card mean, again, tarot is wonderful because cards mean all sorts of different things, and it doesn't always have to be the same thing. It didn't mean the same thing in pile 1 as it did in pile 2. Okay. Control, though, is what's coming through. So I'm going to put all the cards out and then we'll talk about it. Okay. So what are you not aware of? situation. Interesting. You're getting a lot of the same cards. It's so funny when that happens. Like, what are the odds of getting the same cards? I mean, I've been shuffling it for... I just keep shuffling again, just in case, so you know that we did a good job. Interesting. 6 of Cups and 9 of Cups. Some of you... are wanting children and maybe your partner doesn't. Just again, like very specific, but that's what I'm getting from for some of you. Again, this is a general reading, so if it doesn't make sense or fit, then it's not for you today, and that's totally okay. Okay, so what are we walking into? Knight of Pentacles. So if you're not actually married, and this is like what's holding you back from fulfillment by like, why haven't I gotten married, or why isn't my partner proposed, or why haven't I proposed to my partner? You can also kind of look at it from that perspective. Queen of Pentacles, 5 of Swords, lots of queens, like both the Queen of Swords, King of Pentacles came out. These 4 of these cards have been in multiple readings. Okay. The Moon also was in the last reading. Okay, so let's talk about this. There's a feeling of needing control. So if you're married and you're feeling like not fulfilled in the marriage, there's this like the purpose of the reading, like the reason of the reading is this idea of control. So let's keep going. Let's talk about all of it and I'll get some clarification. But so there's some control that's happening. What you're not aware of is the King of Swords. So this could be your partner or you, but there's this perspective of a very like cutting, direct kind of person. In the most positive way, it can be someone who's really powerful and courageous and honest. In the more negative aspects, it can be someone who is, they've worked really hard to be an honest and truthful person, but because of that, sometimes it can be very cutting. So this could be your partner. This could be, you know, maybe the way that they say things to you. So you could maybe feel like either they are too controlling, or you feel like you want the control in the relationship, or there's some kind of power dynamic here where maybe they say things like, oh, is that how you're going to load the dishwasher? Or is that what you're wearing out tonight? Like, and it's just a question, but you feel like behind that question is all this other stuff. Like, you look bad, or are you ever going to do these things I asked you to do? That kind of vibe. That's what you're not seeing that's affecting this. So if this is you in the relationship, then it's possible that in your effort to be very direct, that you're cutting. If it's your partner, you could feel like they're always trying to control the situation and you, or you can feel like they don't do the things you want them to do in the way you want them to do, and that makes you really crazy. What you are aware of, which is the High Priestess, which oftentimes for me, this card is about like mystery and veil and not knowing. But it can also be Divine Feminine. So let me see if I can explain this. If this is like, gender doesn't matter, but if this is a partnership, a marriage, where one of you feels like the other is trying to control you all the time, and it's more of like the stereotypical masculine energy. It does not have to be a man or a male identifying person, but like that idea of like, I'm the boss, or I know the truth, or I know what's right and I'm always right. That kind of control is like clashing with what you know to be like your feminine, divine feminine, or spirituality, or just like that divine feminine energy. So again, this could be you or your partner, but that's what it's feeling. It's like there's a clash here, and both sides don't seem to want to like compromise. There's probably been a lot of compromise, and at this point it's like, oh heck no, I am holding on to this because I'm tired of compromising or submitting or feeling like I have to always apologize first, or you're right and I'm wrong, that kind of thing. What you're coming out of, which is interesting, the hangman energy, which would be like a change in perspective. So it's possible. So this is, I love family theory things, but this could be like you guys, you got married, it worked, your different energies were working, and something changed, your perspective on things, and marriage changed, or their perspective on things changed. I'm feeling like it's you, like you changed and grew and developed over time and had a new perspective on what partnership should be. And your partner married one part of you a while ago, and that part of you was in line with maybe stereotypical gender roles, or it worked for them the way that you guys interacted. And now that you've shifted and your perspective has changed, it's no longer working the same way, which is totally understandable. One, to change, and two, for it not to work for the same person. With the Knight of Pentacles, like what you're moving into, it feels like, what I like about this energy is like hard work, steadfast. Like you're not going, the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight. The knights usually are about movement, right? And this is the slowest, this is like slow and steady wins the race. So what it feels like, what's cool about this is that I'm getting this feeling of like, but I'm not trying to get rid of this relationship or end this relationship. I'm willing to put the work in, and there's gonna be work. So let's keep going. We'll tie some more things in. Again, though, we go back to like this control idea. So you've got the Five of Swords, which is often about like, you have to decide who won or lost. In my opinion, this guy who's holding all these swords and those two that are walking away, that one looks like they're crying. He won the war. He won the battle. He's smug. So oftentimes it's like, you have to decide, did you win or did you lose? With this being the attitude towards the situation, I'm again getting this idea of like feeling like someone has to be wrong and someone has to be right. And you're like, I'm right in this situation. Like I'm right. And they need to shift their perspective, or they need to learn or listen differently. It's interesting having the Knight of Pentacles facing the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles is like this very steady and stable energy, a person who has really worked hard for what they have, and they are now just like enjoying the benefit of it, but it's a very stable energy. This being an external influence position. Okay, so some of you, it's possible that your partner is the one that brings the money into the relationship. They're the stability of the relationship financially, which might be why all these piles seem to kind of correlate. Yeah, so there could be some fear or dynamic, power dynamic difference here, where if they're the one that brings in the substantial amount of the living funds, that could be hard, especially if you guys had a contract when you first got together that like you would do maybe the more, either like you were the bigger breadwinner, or you were doing more of the emotional and emotional labor and housework, raising kids or whatever. Like I said at the beginning, some of you might want children and the other person doesn't want children, or that's an issue. But there's definitely this vibe I keep getting of like two people in conflict, both wanting the best and thinking that they're doing things with the best intention, but it's just like butting heads and saying like, nope, you're wrong and I'm right. With Queen of Swords in your hopes and fears, which is a lot about like truth, and can be about a lot about communication. It's hopes and fears. you're afraid maybe to confront this situation with your partner. You're either afraid that they will be hurt or disappointed, or it will just end up in a fight where you feel like they think they're right and you're wrong, or whatever it is. But it's like you're a little bit nervous about communicating with them. Your hope is that you could communicate honestly and say, like, this is what I'm feeling, how can we work through this together? And then your fear is that you'll like hit the ball like a tennis racket towards them, you'll volley or whatever, and they'll just like shoot it out of the sky and be like, this sucks, no, I'm not interested. So there's some fear in confronting this situation, which you cannot make anything better if you're not willing to like talk to someone about it. If you're not willing to at least say what the problem is, how could they possibly know what's wrong? And how could they possibly like work anything out? Sorry, this one moved and this one moved. We're just getting ready. And this one moved. Okay. Because the outcome here is the moon, or like what, you know, the possibility of this is the moon. So the moon can be about working through like shadow work, working through some like issues that you have. It can be about intuition. It can be about psychic ability. So in regards to this, it's like following your instincts on how to handle this situation or how to communicate this might be really important. And it's possible that in other situations, in other relationships, you're really good at your intuition and communicating. And with this person, it just like falls to the wayside as soon as you start talking, because there's like this power struggle. Yeah. Did that come out reversed? It's like if you can do this work, you're also releasing a lot of fear and like constraint. Like doing this conversation, allowing this, like having the trust and faith in this relationship to have this conversation, one, will make you feel more fulfilled because you're being honest and vulnerable, and that brings people back together. But if it's not safe and that person isn't going to be like a healthy person to talk to, that's a whole different situation. I'm not getting that from here. So let's get some clarification. I'll use this deck. So what's holding you back from fulfillment in marriage? It's almost like, that's so funny. Again, pile 2 got this card. 4 of Wands, which is like the marriage card, the celebration card. Okay, so if for those of you who like, this could be all the same power struggle, but it could be like they haven't proposed to me and I don't understand why, or why aren't we married? Because it feels like you want a partnership, and it doesn't feel like, if you are married, it doesn't feel like it's the partnership that you want. And if you're not married, it feels like you want that to happen. Like you want the legality of that to feel like it's like you can trust it or feel fulfilled by it. But again, this is a general reading, so it's going to be really some specifics for some people. And then if it doesn't resonate, it's not for you, and that's okay. Don't try to force it. But so this coming out here is like, if you do this conversation, if you have this conversation, you put it on the table, like it's going to bring you closer, or it's going to give you insight onto like, this is not a celebration. This is not going the way that I would want it to go, or this is not a person that I necessarily feel like I communicate super well with. 7 of Swords. So the Deceit card. Or trickery. For those of you who are not married and are hoping for a proposal, like it is not great to feel like you have to force someone into asking you. And it's like that, oh man, I just forgot the word. What's that word for when you give someone an ultimatum? Like, we've been together 8 years. You're either going to ask me to marry you, or I'm walking away because that's what I want. I want kids and I want marriage. Whoa. Yeah, like that is not a great place to start a relationship with demanding that, but you get to decide. Obviously, like if you've been waiting and that's not happening, then that is a legitimate thing that you can do, is to walk away from it. You have the King of Wands again. Oh no, wait, did King of Wands was in the other pile? King of Wands is a very attractive person. With the Devil card, which is being like stuck without, you think you're stuck, you think that you can't, like you think you've like made your bed, but you haven't. You could get out of this. Okay. So some of you have definitely been thinking about divorce. Some of you have thought about, if you're not actually married and that's what you want, you're thinking about leaving your partner because they're not aligning with what you want. Again, like some of you wanted kids, or your partner does and you don't. It's possible that some of you have had to deal with adultery, like there's been some cheating that has happened or some deceit. It doesn't have to necessarily be that someone cheated on you, but that they weren't being honest with you. And I think that you're afraid to have a really honest conversation because you don't trust that they're going to be honest back with you, and that you'll just be putting your vulnerability out there and then they're not being honest and vulnerable. So again, talking about what's holding you back from fulfillment in marriage, it's all these different scenarios depending on who you are watching this, pile 3. But again, like the guidance is to have that real conversation, to release the fear of that, because the fear is what creates the distance between you. The fear that like they're going to respond in a way that will make you feel so scared or upset or like hopeless is what will separate you farther from somebody. Let's see what these tea leaves say. We've got ear, so good news. We've got eye, psychic ability, trust your intuition, and candle, you will be shown the way. Come on, pile 3. Your team is saying it is time to do this conversation, have this communication with this person in a very open, honest, vulnerable way. And you might not hear what you want to hear, but whatever's going to happen is going to be a good thing. And trust your intuition. Remember when I was saying like psychic ability, intuition with the moon, like you know how to communicate. You just sometimes when with this person's energy, you guys don't always communicate as well, but you're super capable of it. So you like centering yourself in the way that you communicate on a professional level with friends, that kind of thing, and trying to use that same template to talk to this person. Your team is going to help you. They're going to be there. They're going to help guide you. Interesting. Ear and eye. It's like using your, like, have faith that you, even if they don't respond in the way that works at first, maybe they blow up and walk away and then you guys have to have 5 more conversations. But this distrust and this fear that you're like stuck and that you can't move forward, or that they will not receive the information the way that you hope for it to be received, is keeping you from being fulfilled. It's keeping you from feeling close to this person. I feel like I need to pick one more thing for like, oh yeah, I have these just in case we needed a little bit of, I don't know, positive affirmation. So pile 3 is going to do this conversation, hopefully, and it's scary and hard, and they're afraid. People are always afraid you'll make it worse, but if you're not fulfilled, it's not going to get better not doing something. It's just going to get worse. You're going to feel farther away from this person. You don't have to be honest in a hurtful, cutting way. You can be honest in a gentle, loving, vulnerable way where you use I statements and you say, I am feeling this way. When you do these things, I feel like this. What I need from you is this. What do you think? And listen to them and how they respond. Befriend the word polarize. Interesting, because I kept talking about this energy of like this power dynamic of 2 people kind of like polarized, right? So let's read in this book what number 25 is saying and see if any of this is helpful to you. Okay, so the essential meaning: display of your inner truth, bravery to share your personal flavor and your true opinions, movement toward a goal, opposing forces, transition, growth, taking a stand, personal empowerment. Looking after others at your own expense, worrying about being accepted, being vanilla in order to appeal to everyone, the fear of making waves and being seen. Polarize isn't a bad word. Great leaders are not selling safe, usual, everyday ideas. It's time to bravely put your truth and your wisdom out on display in order to find those individuals who totally love what you're saying. Finding those soulful kindreds may mean that there will be others who disagree with what you're all about, and that's okay. It's time to get comfortable with this possibility, and steer clear of any safely watered down vanilla choices that are meant to keep you palatable and liked. You are anything but average, so don't hide your powerful message from the world by trying to appeal to the taste of the masses. How can you speak more honestly and directly in your life? Is there something about yourself that you have been hiding in order to play it safe in the world? What are you opaquing, which means like covering, like opaque, like light doesn't come through. What about you could shine a little more brightly? Rewrite your bio for your eyes only. No one else will see it, so let it flow. Some starting points. What do you stand for? What fires you up? What are your dreams? That's like super affirming of all of this. It's like, stop being so scared to be this truthful, honest part of you because you are afraid that if you show this, that it's going to make this worse, that this is going to end something, that they're going to respond poorly. Like, because the more you do not show up as your authentic self, the more you like die a little bit. And then the relationship dies, because there cannot be a relationship based on like someone holding back who they are and what they feel. So I am hoping, pile 3, that you will be the brave person that you are, because being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It just means you're going to do it anyway because you know it's the right thing. So have this conversation, have multiple conversations. Start slowly in a safe way where you say, hey, can I tell you one of my truths right now that I've been wanting to share? And you just listen. So you can make parameters with someone. You can communicate like you would at a team meeting at work, where you say, okay, I'm going to say the thing and then you guys will listen, and then I'm going to ask for some feedback. But again, like the I feel when you do this, I feel I need from you. You can use I statements. And also be prepared to listen to what they have to say and not assume you know what they have to say. All right, pile 3, that's what I'm getting for you. And I really hope you do this, because 1, even if this relationship doesn't end up being sustainable for you, or you do divorce, or you separate, or you don't get married, or you move on, the power of showing up as yourself and telling this person, first of all, if this is your person that you chose to partner with, then they deserve to hear this truth as well. And they are not psychic, and they can't tell what you're thinking, even though you might think that it's so obvious. Try not to be like, it's like by trying to protect someone else from your truth, it's almost like you're being very deceitful. So do your best to recognize that you're not stuck in this situation as it is. You can move this situation forward. You can overcome this. You can slay the dragon. You can do this. You know how to communicate. I hope you choose to do it. People deserve to hear our truths, especially when we've chosen to partner with them. And you will be so much more fulfilled, even if it doesn't work the way you want to. You just saying your truth and saying, hey, can we work on this? You will feel like you're not holding back and you're not having to bite your tongue. So pile 3, what's holding you back from fulfillment in marriage sounds like not showing your light and blocking your truth and not being upfront about who you really are out of fear. So I hope that you take this as a sign to work on that, because you will feel so good afterwards. And the lack of fear, like you'll release some fear and it'll feel really amazing. Okay, pile 3, thank you for sticking around. I hope that was helpful to you. And if it was, please give me a like or subscribe if you wish to, or write me a comment that says this really resonated. I love it. But no matter what, thank you so much for being here and listening to this. And I really, really hope it brought you some clarity and gave you some hope for your future in communicating with this person. And if you're the person and it's about your partner, then you'll know kind of switch this. But again, thank you so much. And I hope this was helpful.